Alright, everyone in the crypto space. This is my 5 reasons why I think Sia and Skynet will be successful. And the reasons will span across different domains, such as um, regulatory reasons, features of the network, things of that sort. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, for the first reason, or reason number 5, is that the ease of use and development progress is pretty good for Sia, or compared to like different decentralized apps that offer the same feature of decentralized storage. The only other uh, decentralized storage blockchain app that's out there that I'm aware of is Filecoin, and if you were to look at their website or their repository or their wiki, it doesn't really seem like it's geared towards consumers, and it's more assembled for developers. All of the documentation, their website is very like, I don't know. It just seems very like academic. It doesn't really attract. It wouldn't be very attractive to like the average person to go to the Filecoin network and be like, oh, okay, let me just host my file. No, it's not, and it's also not that simple. You have to be like a computer scientist to like get that stuff up and running to begin with. Also, its extensive use case. If you think about all the apps that are on the regular internet, all the use cases for the regular internet, um, all of that can be brought over to the SIA network. So like all of the multimedia features, such as streaming videos, hosting images, discussion boards, and as well as identity features, so like social media and having online profiles, all of that can be implemented on the Skynet and the SIA protocol. It's just the only difference is that Skynet is decentralized compared to the centralized internet. So that's pretty interesting. Also, as a side note, the Skynet was deployed in 2020 of February 18th, and they also have a strong development team. The CEO, David Vorick, he's very qualified. If you just look up his qualifications, he's got a pretty good skill set, and also he was the what was it? He was the founder of the ASIC mining hardware company. So that's some pretty good stuff, honestly. All right, next reason. All right, so regulatory clarity. In 2017, the SEC had a settlement with Nebulous, the company behind SIA and Skynet, and they sued Nebulous for the sale of unregistered securities. Now, before I get into this, I need to go over the two token model that Nebulous uses in order to run their operations. If you haven't heard of this will be news to you. So, Siacoin is the coin that runs the protocol, the SIA protocol, which is the storage network protocol, the decentralized storage network protocol. And there's also this token called the SIA funds. The SIA funds are used to pay they're basically used to pay developers and holders of the SIA funds. And whenever a storage related transaction happens on the SIA protocol, 3.5% of the transaction is sent over to the developers as SIA funds. So they're basically paid in that way in order to run their operations. Anyways, that's their two token model in a nutshell. It was the SIA funds where this SEC had an issue with, not the SIA coins. They basically were, Nebulous was selling SIA funds as unregistered securities, and they didn't really put much of a fight. I think the Nebulous basically paid their fines, had the settlement, and that was basically it. The interesting thing though about this lawsuit and the settlement is that there was no ruling on SEO coins. So you can, I guess, as a speculative investor, if you're looking for something with like a lot of upside potential, but with also some regulatory clarity behind it, Siacoin could be promising. Who knows? Anyways, it just seems like dealing with the SEC is sort of this rite of passage, which Nebulous has already went through. They already had their round at the regulatory chopping block, so to speak. Anyways, third feature, or third reason why I think Siacoin and Skynet will be successful. So, the privacy and security, the way security and privacy is guaranteed on the SIA protocol is the way files are stored and the way users' information is stored. All data is chopped up and spread across the network as encrypted fragments. And if you think about this in terms of an attacker's perspective, what they'd have to do is somehow find out which nodes out of the currently 347 storage providers have your fragments, and then they would have to somehow steal those fragments, decrypt them, and reassemble them. That's I don't know. It seems pretty much impossible unless you have access to a supercomputer. It's pretty much impossible. You can't really do that. Or if you have some kind of botnet to attack the entire network, or if you were to hijack all the nodes, it's pretty much an impossible task. So in that case, privacy and security is a guarantee. Also, the SIA protocol has auto erasure code for malicious storage providers. What that does is, if a storage provider acts maliciously or behaves in a way that's not expected out of the protocol, all the files they store, all the file fragments they store, will be deleted automatically. So it's pretty good, pretty interesting stuff, pretty good features. Also, those are just the native features of the SIA protocol. All of the best practices for security and privacy that developers already know can be added onto the SIA protocol, and that's just basically network security and application security. All that stuff can be built on top of the already secure and private features of the SIA protocol. So yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Also, cost. Number 2 reason is cost. I wasn't able to find a fixed price estimate for the SIA protocol, because on their website they pretty much gave a range between $1 per month to less than $8 per month. That was during the time I was reading it, when Siacoin was priced at 1 4/10 cent. But yeah, so the fact that there's no fixed price leaves it open to interpretation for us. And the only way I could think about their pricing is that storage providers can name their price and implement it in their file contracts. So you can imagine when mass adoption occurs of the SIA protocol, storage providers will be offering competitive pricing. So it's not like a clear-cut thing at this point. But anyways, we can use $8 per terabyte as a we can use it as a starting point. And if we're looking at $8 per terabyte, then that actually is on par with centralized storage counterparts, which they charge around $2 to $5 per terabyte, if I'm correct. So $8, it doesn't beat it, but it's still on par. And the thing is about centralized storage and the way they price their customers, they price them in fixed pricing tiers, meaning hey, you guys if you want 1 terabyte, then you'd have to pay $5 for 1 terabyte of usage per month. And that kind of restricts the customers though, because what if the customers don't want to use 1 terabyte? What if they only use 500 megabytes, or what if they only use 50 megabytes? You know, so you can imagine how that restricts the customers in that regard. So where I think Siacoin and the Sia protocol will succeed is that users will pay per usage. There will be file contracts implemented so that users will only pay for what they use, which is good, and it gives them more fair pricing for the users of the network. All right, for my number one reason why I think the Sia protocol will succeed is that users own their data. Now, this is, if you put it in context, all of the security breaches that you hear about when it comes to people's financial information, or when it comes to people's social media information, and when it comes to third parties taking your social media information and selling it to advertisers or politicians. You know, if you think about the whole Cambridge Analytica scandal with Facebook, you know, it just makes you think, like, you know, it makes you wonder if users are looking for an alternative when it comes to social media and just the internet in general. And I think the Sia protocol will succeed in this regard, since users really do own their data. They own it in the sense that their computer is the only point in the network where all of their data converges and makes sense. Since their data is stored, fragmented, and encrypted, there's no way storage providers can share that information or sell it to third parties. So that's a pretty good feature. Also, you can imagine down the line that since the users own their data, they can monetize their data. You can imagine an application where users will be able to host their content and be paid for their content by other users, not by like advertisers, or not by joining this this ad campaign or whatever. You wouldn't see, like, on the Sia network, you wouldn't see advertisements on a social media platform that's built on the Sia network, because that social media platform will be paid for by people who use it, and all of the content of the users on there will be paid for by other users. So that's pretty interesting stuff, and I think that's what's the word for it? The trump card for this network and why it will succeed. So yeah, those are my 5 reasons why Sia and Skynet will be successful. Thanks for watching, I guess, and subscribe if you want more content. Peace.